This is a Sunday homily for 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Year A 2023. Christ in the Gospel passage invites us by saying, "Come to me all who labor and are overburdened in life." In our life, burdens block us. They weigh us down. They make us feel exhausted and even make us become hopeless, lose direction in life, and feel that nothing works in life. What could be the solution for all this? The context of Christ's invitation would be that the scribes and the Pharisees had imposed so many rules and regulations that overburdened the people at that time. So Christ, in today's gospel, is calling those who are overburdened to go to Him. And of course, He is inviting us today. On this 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Year A, allow me to share my experience I had one day after celebrating Holy Mass in one of the parishes in Kenya. As I was going back to the parish, I saw one middle-aged woman who was carrying a sack on her head going to the direction I was heading to. Seeing her carrying a huge sack, I quickly remembered what Christ says, "Come to me all who are overburdened." I stopped and invited her to board the pickup. At first, she tried to board with her sack on her head, but I offloaded it and helped her board the pickup. Afterwards, I drove off. Few minutes later, I watched through the side mirrors and saw that the woman had put back the sack on her head but seated firmly. I was shocked, and many questions crossed my mind, such as, why did she put back the sack on her head? Why? In fact, these thoughts distressed me until I almost committed an accident. I endured until she arrived at her destination and I dropped her off. I learned that there are physical burdens that we carry in life, such as what this woman was carrying, and other burdens are non-physical burdens, such as the worries, anxieties, and fears I had for this woman. In today's world, many people are overburdened by non-physical burdens such as chronic stress, depression, frustrations, and other mental illnesses. When Jesus says, "Come to me all who are overburdened," it means to find rest, to find consolation, or to find fulfillment in Him. In the Old Testament, there are some invitations to find comfort in the Lord. For example, when Cain killed his brother Abel, what was the punishment that God gave him? It was restlessness. Genesis chapter 4, verse 14. Moreover, in Sirach chapter 24, verse 19, people were invited to find rest in God. Isaiah chapter 50, verse 4, an invitation is also extended to the people so that they may find comfort in the Lord. Finally, in the gospel passage of today, Christ invites each one of us to go to Him because He will provide, 1, rest, 2, to learn from Him because He is gentle and humble of heart, and finally, to shoulder His yoke because His burden is light to carry. But honestly speaking, Christ invites us to Him to help us carry our burdens. But afterwards, He says again that His yoke is easy and His burden is light. Does it mean that one leaves a heavy burden and takes on another lighter burden? In my reflection based on this passage of today, Christ's yoke is easy and His burden is light, which means a yoke is used to link two animals, which could be bulls, so that they can pull easily the plow or the weight behind them. Therefore, taking on the yoke of Christ means that Christ joins us in carrying our burdens in life so that we may experience lightness or relief. Which yoke, figuratively, are we talking about here? A yoke of faith, a yoke of trust, a yoke of love, and a yoke of hope that makes our burdens in life bearable, endurable, and above all, manageable. Today, people don't carry many physical burdens due to technological advancement, but many people today, they carry burdens that are non-physical in their minds and in their hearts. Truly speaking, what can overburden a person in life is not a physical burden, but the perception or the interpretation of such a physical burden in life. For example, the way one perceives an expensive phone in his pocket may bring distress, fear, or anxiety, because such a person could have fears that his phone would be stolen when he goes to populated places such as city center. Consequently, the person will avoid to go to city center, hence remaining at home or remaining away from the city center. What lessons can we learn from this gospel passage of 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, year A 2023? 1. Each one of us has a burden in life. It could be small to others, but it may be big to the one bearing it. Physical burdens can be helped, but non-physical burdens such as stress, depression, and other mental illnesses could be addressed by seeking help from a mental health professionals, because Christ brings healing through them. Next time you pass a counseling center or you might meet a counselor, try to get some help, because Christ works through them to bring mental healing to you. Second, the yoke of Christ is easy because he helps us to carry the burdens in life. A yoke could be anything that links us to Christ. It could be a verse in the Bible that when read, it would be a consolation and relief to us. Finally, as Christ prayed even though he was rejected and misunderstood, as witnessed in the previous verses of today's passage, he offered a prayer of thanksgiving to God. Let us continually build our relationship with God despite the challenges that we experience, such as oppositions, sufferings, and persecutions. To conclude, on this 14th Sunday of Ordinary Time, year A 2023, let us listen to the call, "Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened," because, as St. Augustine beautifully puts it, our hearts are restless unless they find rest in you, O God. Amen. Have a blessed Sunday.